Hi guys, welcome to session 4 of Marketing 102. My name is Yankit Khan. And as you know, in this marketing series, we are going through the subject of marketing, which is relevant for class 12 students who are going to give the CBSE certificate examination in the coming year. So in our previous session, we have started with the subject of product. Why product is a very important marketing mix element. What is a product? What are the factors which influence a product mix? What are the different product levels? In today's topic, we are going to start with yet another important topic of product classification. That is, how does a product is classified? Before we do that, let us understand why product classification is important. So we know when a marketer approaches a consumer, that consumer is in the market to satisfy a variety of wants. There cannot be a single product which will satisfy the complete want of the consumer. So if the marketer has a variety of product in his hand, he will be able to present those classified products accordingly to a consumer. Then, as we studied in Marketing 101, that a very important aspect of marketing is to segment, then target, and to position yourself in that segmented market. So we know that a marketer has already divided that heterogeneous market into smaller homogeneous market. A marketer already knows what kind of consumers are there in his homogeneous market. So to position himself better, he needs to know what kind of product will satisfy the needs of the consumer. So product classification helps you with that. Basically, product classification happens on the basis of three essential ground. First and foremost is the durability, then you have tangibility, and then you have usage type. So when you classify a product, you can classify on the basis of durability and tangibility. That is how a product sustain the consumption cycle, or how many consumption cycle a good can sustain or product can sustain. On the basis of that, goods can be non-durable, durable, and services. Then you have the consumer goods. Consumer goods are basically divided or the classification based on the time and effort a consumer is going to put on his shopping. So on the basis of that, consumer goods can be further classified as convenience goods, shopping goods, specialty goods, and unsold goods. And finally, you have the industrial goods. As the name says, these goods are made for the industries. So these can be material and parts, the capital item, and supplies and business services. In today's session, we are going to focus on the classification of durability and tangibility. But before we cover that part, let us do a very detailed classification of the product. So as I've told you, detailed classification of the product can happen on the basis of consumer goods, industrial goods, and services. So before we go any further, I'll just try to cover up one very simple point. Consumer goods and services, they are basically a classification of the same nature. But now services are not limited to the consumer goods only. The industrial goods also require services. So therefore, we are separating the services as a separate classification. When we talk about the consumer goods, now consumer goods can be further classified on the basis of their durability and the shopping nature. Shopping nature is again the time and effort a consumer willing to put while he's shopping. Durability is the how a good sustain or a how many consumption cycle you can get from a good. So on the basis of that, durability can be durable goods or the non-durable goods. Durable goods which sustain more than one consumption cycle. So your car, your house, your laptop, your cell phone, they're all durable goods. Because once you have consumed that phone, you can consume it again and again. It's not like once you have messaged someone or once you have called someone, then again you have to buy a cell phone. A single cell phone can last you many consumption cycle. But non-durable goods, they have a very short consumption cycle. So in a one or two consumption cycle, these goods are finished. The chocolate, the fooding item you purchase. Because these goods are consumed very rapidly, so they need to be brought into the market very rapidly. Therefore, they are also called as FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. On the basis of shopping nature, goods can be further classified on the basis of convenience goods, shopping goods, and specialty goods. Industrial goods can further be classified on the basis of raw material, foundation goods, facilitating goods, and accessory parts. Facilitating goods can further be classified into the installation and the fixed equipment. And finally, we have the services. So services can be of many nature. They can be utility, insurance, banking, finance, law enforcement, civil and administration and defense services, transportation and communication, business and professional services, distributive traders, hospital services. We are going to cover each classification individually in our coming session. And as we have said, and in today's session, we are going to focus on the classification on the basis of durability and tangibility. Now, essentially, durability and tangibility are two different things. When we talk about durability, we are talking about the consumption cycle. When we are talking about the tangibility, we are talking about the physical characteristics. So on the basis of the tangibility, first we divide the goods on the basis of physical product and the services. So physical product becomes your goods. Goods which can be touched, product which can be touched, which can be seen, which can be picked up, which can be dropped. Services on the other hand are intangible product. Why? Because you cannot see a service. Non-physical product can further be classified as non-durable and durable. So let us understand what durable and non-durable goods are. So non-durable goods, I have said, these are consumed in either one or a couple of uses. Take the example of any fooding item, chocolate, toffee, cake, cookies. These are all consumed in either one or a couple of uses because they are consumed very rapidly. So they need to be regularly purchased because they are very consumed very frequently. Once you have eat a cake, so you have to again buy a cake to eat it again. And because these goods are consumed very frequently, you need a very smooth distribution process. Why? Because this segment is very competitive in its nature. So if your goods are not available in the local shop of the consumer, then the consumer will shift to any other brand. So therefore, you need a very small distribution. Therefore, you need a very smooth distribution and your product need to be easily available. Therefore, you need a very large presence in terms of the market. And because I have already said this segment is very competitive in its nature, so you need to have a very heavy advertisement budget. You need to continuously advertise yourself to your consumer so that they do not shift to any other brand. Then you have the durable goods. As I've said, these goods last you for many, many consumption cycles. So they can be used for many years. Take the example of LCD TVs, the mobile phone, the cars, the laptops. These require most personal selling. Remember, when you go to a authorized dealer of any automobile company, a individual will approach you, ask you about the need, your budget, why do you want to purchase a car, what kind of car you're looking for. Why? Because that kind of durable goods require a more personal selling and after sales services. They require a lot of guarantees and warranties program. So when you buy a car, that car comes with the insurance, that car comes with a free servicing tenure. Why? Because durable goods require more personal selling because that consumption cycle is big. So consumer might face some problem with the product in the coming year. So therefore you need to satisfy the consumer that if in case in that year of consumption consumer will face any problem, you will be there to help him out. Then finally, we have the services. As I have said, product can be classified on the basis of goods and services. Goods are your tangible part, services are your intangible part because you cannot see them. Second, services are inseparable. Why? You cannot separate a service with the service provider. If the service provider is good, obviously the services will also be good. And thirdly, services are inconsistent products. Why they are inconsistent? Because they are provided by a human. Humans are not consistent. Human depends upon the environment, how they provide their services. So because services and the human nature cannot be separated, so therefore it brings a lot of inconsistency in that service provided. And because that human nature is inconsistent, so therefore the service element also comes with that inconsistency. And because of that, you need to have a very heavy quality control on the services. Therefore, you need to train your staff well. Therefore, you need to provide appropriate tools to your service provider so that the quality could be maintained because these services cannot be separated from the service provider. So the credibility of the supplier also matters because if the supplier is not credible, if the service provider is not credible, that nobody is going to ask you for the services. And thirdly, the service has to be very adaptable. I'll give you an example from the airline industry. Now, airline industry earlier they used to give you boarding pass while you were boarding the airplane. But now most of the airline provide you web checking facility. Why? Because airlines have realized that consumer wants to select their own sitting arrangement. Consumer wants to print their own boarding pass. They want to save that time. So now these airlines have adapted to the changing consumer behavior. So therefore, services require more one-to-one relationship with the consumer. With this, we have completed our first classification on the basis of durability and tangibility. In our coming sessions, we are going to cover more classification of goods. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys are interested in learning the basics of the marketing, then I have prepared a separate playlist for Marketing 101. You can check it out. Thank you so much for watching.